starts barking, I'll just run over there.
Oh, that is perfect. And we are live, so we know Banks might start barking.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah. Hi. Okay. So we have who's in the house? Tess Falk, fabulous San Diego. Oh, we get on together. I have to explain. We get on together about 10 minutes early, and we cover dark matter, but we do it in such a way together where we have to bring the humor, bring the mini applause, applauding him. I'm going to read a piece in a minute. And Tess wanted to be able to applause for that. Oh my God. And who's back? Sam White. We love you, Sam. Yay. Yay. Hey, if there's anybody out there, because you know that your videos have massive amounts of views with my audience. And we do YouTube, we do podcasts, we do all kinds of stuff with your material. I said we just repurposed last month's half-hour talk into something like 5 or 6 different segments. There was so much information.
Cool.
That we just kind of needed to breathe in between. But Sam, just give us, some of your background. What stands out for you in your resume today? What do you think?
The fact that not being an aversive trainer.
Okay. Yes.
Is how we accomplish more. There is only humans feel the need to inflict pain or discomfort, to create control or whatever it might be. We do it to each other, we do it with other species, etc. And especially with our companion animals, there's no need.
Yes, and that is absolutely beautiful. And aversive is not a subjective definition.
No.
Aversive means causing any pain, causing any fear, and being yelled at. In my background, that created fear. Mm-hmm. And as you guys know, I live here and I live close to a dressage ranch where they ride the horses with beautiful results. But oh my God, getting there, oh my gosh, so not enough
Tennessee walkers.
Oh, there we go. Yes, absolutely. And I grew up in the 50s. So when I say we've gotten better, no, we haven't. Right. We've just gotten different. That's how one of my good friends describes racism. We haven't gotten better. We've gotten different.
Right.
So yeah. But we are here today to talk about, here we go, loud noises. Those phobias are real.
So many dogs suffer tremendous emotional pain and discomfort from fireworks, thunderstorms, loud motorcycles. It just goes on and on and on. Mm-hmm. There is a portion of their brain which is seriously affected by it. And we see dogs who go everything from shaking, drooling, eliminating, hiding, redirected aggression. And it's all that fear of the noises. And this time of year is the worst. This is the time of year when more dogs are lost. In other words, escape their homes, etc., because of fireworks and everything associated with it.
Tell us about, you mentioned something that needs a clarification. Oh, redirected. What do you mean by that?
So some dogs will become so scared and so panic-stricken that when their owner goes to comfort them with touch, that the dog will redirect and actually bite at them. And it is not directed at that specific person. It's what fear does. It's the same thing when someone's in a fight and someone jumps in to try to pull them away, and the guy that's in the fight turns around and hits the person that's trying to pull them away.
Yes.
It's redirected aggression. And again, in moments of panic, especially when you are terrified, mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
That's what these things happen. And we see this happen with dogs. So it doesn't matter whether they're running and hiding behind the toilet or in the tub, or the owner's trying to comfort them in their purpose. I mean, you should try to comfort and reassure, but restraining or constraining a dog who is that fearful will cause a dog to redirect because they need to have the ability to move. Mm-hmm.
Okay, help us there. They need the ability to move.
Right. In other words, if you're facing something that's very scary, right, and someone were to wrap you up and say, "No, you have to stand here and just deal with it," you're not going to. It's not going to provoke the response that the person thinks it is. Right. The dog needs to be able to move. If they want to be able to run and hide, if they just want to be able to fidget, etc. And this is before we're using, everything from BlackWing Farms products. For more severe dogs, we're using things like Cilio or Trazodone, something like that. But they've got to have the ability to move, to be able to run and hide to wherever they feel safe.
You remind me, because we used to transport, again, I go a lot of horse history. We used to transport horses on acepromazine. Yeah. And if they woke up in the trailer, they could not get it. We've lost horses in a trailer due to that panic.
Acepromazine is a very difficult drug.
Yeah.
Because while it does sedate the body, it does not sedate the brain.
There you go.
And that's what you were seeing inside the trailers.
That's horrible.
Yep.
That's why things like Cilio, which was designed, it's actually been researched and was designed to tackle that part of the brain that reacts to noise, thunderstorms, fireworks, etc., to take an edge off of that so dogs can actually be less fearful about it. Obviously, Trazodone, a light sedative. Thunder shirts, safe places. The BlackWing Farms, I have to tell you, Drama, so I'm going to go through bottles of this over the next week.
Yes.
And then there are times, I have to tell you, on 4th of July, I load my dogs into my van, and I drive up and down the Garden State Parkway here, our big 8-lane highway, for hours, just so that they're not hearing what's going on. We'll leave the house around 7:30, probably not get home till midnight. Just driving up and down the major highway.
And I think
I'm doing that too.
Tess told me something. Where is it, Tess? There's a firework-free zone in San Diego.
So a lot of our the cities in the desert, there are some that are actually there are fire-free zones. And so, going through my experiences with Mello, with the fireworks we have here at SeaWorld, every night we're able to practice. And those are a designated time, limited time, 5 minutes every night. So we've been using BlackWing Farms every day. And he has shown a change. But for the 4th of July, where all this popping's going on, we've actually booked a room out of town. And we're going to get in the car, drive there, stay there, come back the next morning.
Yep.
Last year, we just drove around and coming back home at 1 o'clock in the morning, there was still a few stragglers happening. And the panic that you see, it's heartbreaking to see him running around from room to room. And like you said, Sam, you cannot contain him. That just causes more anxiety. That like claustrophobia, and I'm frightened, it makes it worse. So letting them be around and moving and I've actually opened up cupboards and put beds inside cupboards.
Yep.
Because he'll run into that cupboard and stay maybe for a few minutes, and then he'll go to the next room. He must be moving. But we're going out of town just for that firework trip,
Sam, and Tess would know this too. Is there are any of these chemicals that you mentioned available from our vets? Are they fast acting? Yeah.
So Cilio is, it's probably 7-8 years old now. Vets start stocking it in huge quantities, usually around April, so that to get through like Memorial Day, whatever, and then really stock up when getting ready for the 4th of July. Period of time.
Good.
Trazodone is used for so many different things in behavioral, for dogs with behavioral issues. So vets as well, they have that. Alprazolam, which is the generic Xanax, again, a heavier sedative, but for some dogs, they need that.
Okay. Yeah.
You got to attack this from multiple angles. Medication helps. Using things like the trauma, right? That helps. Using anxiety wraps, thunder shirt, etc. That helps. I actually have clients who have bought weighted blankets for their dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And actually will wrap their dogs up in a weighted blanket, which has proven to help some dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, finding that place in the house with the least amount of windows, and a place where they can just feel comfortable. What you did, Tess, with the cabinets. I mean, yeah, you got to do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. This is a tough time for dogs.
Yeah, and monsoon. Go ahead.
I just want to say too, like now I mean, we started this last month. And I want everyone that thinks this is going to happen to start now, if they haven't already. Like even practicing where a safe place is to go, so that's more familiar to them, and it's not just something new the night of the fireworks. And starting with drama trauma now will only build up and help them the night of. If they've never used medication before, I'm gonna say this lightly. I'm not going to talk about medication, but here in California, a lot of our pets are on CBD. If they've never done it, don't wait till the day to do it.
Right.
I really can't say that enough, because I've had so many clients that are saying they're getting the opposite reaction from their dogs being on CBD, and it can happen. It happens to people where they're more hyper, they're more amped up, and super anxious because they're getting the opposite effect, and that can happen. So I really don't want anyone to wait till July 4th to start practicing. They really, please start practicing now. It's so important, and showing them these spaces and these places, setting up a time frame where you're gonna do treats, because even Mello, when the fireworks first started for SeaWorld, he wouldn't take a treat during a firework. I mean, we had to build up to that. That was a week building up to it, where now he hears that program, runs to the kitchen to get the treat. That's a miracle, and that's a great place so he can focus on eating and not being so nervous that he won't even eat. So now's the time.
One last thing, too. Because of thunderstorms, dogs suffer the same issues. iCalm Pet, they actually have the music with the training built in from Victoria Stilwell for dogs who are thunderstorm and firework phobic. So you can actually use the music and listen to the training tips on how to use the music as well as the sounds of fireworks and thunderstorms to begin a counter conditioning and desensitization program.
Yes, I love that.
Can we find out that through you at theinnerdog.com?
Yeah, but go on icompet.com.
iCalm Pet.
Okay. All right. Way cool. Here's something that I wrote, and this is a perfect time to bring this in. This is something I wrote, just proving how smart I am. I put it in our newsletter last week, and I want you to hold the applause till the end. Okay, so it's less than a 2-minute read, but please indulge me. Okay. On July 4th, 2008, I defended my ignorance and said knowingly, German Shepherds have acute hearing, so that is why Tiger gets stressed with fireworks. Carrie listened patiently, as she so often has to do with me, then sweetly said, why don't you give him some of your own formulas? Do you have any drama trauma at the house? Maybe. She did not hear my expertise. I repeated the canine anatomy lecture. She repeated, do you have any drama trauma? For his sake, she added with quite an exhale, Meg, just give him some. Miffed, I said, okay, but you'll see I'm right. Then I sprayed the air, I sprayed my hands, and I petted his chest and sides, and I sprayed the couch. It was another holy moment, of which I have had many with BlackWing Farms remedies. He quit panting so hard. He quit pacing. He quit drooling. He quit getting on and off the couch. He quit whining. He quit flattening his huge ears. He quit tucking his tail within minutes. I was elated, and no, don't tell Carrie, I never congratulated her. I kept spraying. I sprayed his dinner. I sprayed his water bowl, the path to the outside, and once more on the couch. We cuddled up together and watched the fireworks on TV. It was hours later when the neighbors started shooting guns in the air, 2008 rural, shooting guns in the air, banging pots and pans, setting off cherry bombs, and seriously cranking up the music. Tiger was not moving. Now I was worried for a different reason. Loud noises are his worst nightmare, and he was not reacting. I woke him. He looked so relaxed. He got up, put his front paws on the floor, and lingered there like a massive German Shepherd can do. Stretched with his hind end still on the couch, he paused, he farted, Then he got down. He stretched again, farted again, got a drink, and returned to the couch where he slept until morning.
Yay!
True story. Oh my gosh. And again, I mean, you two are laughing. I know everybody else is laughing. If we can't say this stuff about ourselves, and I've already been in Practical Farms was not new. I was 40 years into flower essences already. So, and just the way she said it was just, please just give him some.
That is so funny.
What I love about us is we are saying, yes, start here. If you need more, go there. And if you still need more after that, go there. One thing I do want to give a shout out for, that's something that the pandemic has really brought out the best in some of us. We now know, and many of us more realize, we can help the animals after an event. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking this morning, after a traumatic event in my life, I will be able to, ride that horse home, feed everybody, get the dogs fed, fix dinner for my family. And then maybe in the shower, hours later is when I begin to shake. And I begin to just lose it and cry uncontrollably because of the trauma that happened 4, 5, 6 hours earlier. So whatever that is, the adrenaline, the cortisol, whatever that is still spiking and just got to the place where it had to shake itself out. And so when we go through an event with our animals, and let's say we can't find the trauma or whatever else it is that we're going to be using, we can do it after the event. And it will calm that, and it will help with that negative memory. It will help to reset that negative memory. Sam, you're nodding, and
That's
so
a good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because even if they can't get things like now for fireworks, I think we're not going to stop spraying him and helping him through what he's experiencing. So that's, something similar, but not as extreme. But go ahead, Sam.
What you're saying is true. I mean, the unfortunate thing about especially for our dogs and our companion animals is the fact that the physical size of their brain is much smaller than ours, which means that after a fear event, the ability for cortisol to return to whatever their normal levels are takes much longer. Mm-hmm. And depending on the animal, it can take anything from several hours to several days. Mm-hmm. And that's why we worry about especially with fireworks, but also other events which produce loud noises, is the fact that once it's over, you've got to make sure that your dog is in a secured, safe place, right? Because it's going to take them a while to recover from this. Mm-hmm. And then when they start to recover from it, they're going to need rest. Mm-hmm. They need a chance to sleep. Mm. Right? Rest is very important.
What do we do about monsoon and the storms that you guys have suffered through? Those thunderstorms on the East Coast. Woo.
I mean, it's the same thing. Again, the big thing I tell clients who have storm phobic dogs, and I do it for mine. We have different barometric barometer apps, so we can see when the pressure starts to drop. We look for changes in the dog's behavior, the cat's behavior, the horse's behavior, because they're already starting to feel the effects long before we will. And when you start to see those changes, that's when you're starting to already put into place the mechanisms and the protocols to help them before the storm actually gets there. And it's really important. Whether it's fireworks, whether it's storms, whatever it may be. I have clients who live near shooting ranges. That is another tough one. Mm-hmm. It's all the same thing. Noise phobic is noise phobic, doesn't matter the species, and we do the same things to help no matter the species.
And a question too, is like, what if they're not showing it? What if they just go, what if they just say, well, I'm just going to go off to bed right now? And that's not the usual MO, but they're shutting down. So
that's showing. You're looking for any of those subtle changes in behavior. You're mm-hmm. looking for the subtle body postures, facial expressions, tail movements that are letting you know that a dog, cat, horse, whatever it may be, is becoming uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Right? And then you look at your weather app or whatever you're using, and you're seeing that whether thunderstorms are 20 minutes away or 5 hours away, let's get started with those protocols. Set them up for success in dealing with what's coming, so that afterwards they have the ability to reset or reboot faster and get back to just having their usual good quality of life.
And again, between you two, I mean, because, with Tess and her grooming business, it's so important that we set up for success for the next time and the next time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, Sam, with your background and, helping military and helping the military or the police dogs, aren't we doing the same thing there?
It doesn't matter the breed of the dog. It doesn't matter what the dog is, whether it's a companion animal, working dog, etc. Everything you do should be setting that animal up for success, right? Whether it's teaching basic skills, whether it's helping them through traumatic events, whatever it is. But the idea is prevention is always better than reaction, right?
Absolutely.
The time and effort we put into prevention means that the ability for our animals to recover from something is much less, and they look to us to say thank you.
So Tess sent me some videos this morning that were.
I wanted you to send them to Sam.
Oh my gosh! Because the first video was like, actually it was a behaviorist dream. We had everything. We had, ears back and cocked, and we had whale eye, and we had, the pullback, but Tess, I wanted to ask you, from that initial video that you sent, and then the next one where you used the drama trauma, how long was it before you started to actually be able to bathe?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you exactly how long it was. The first photo I took here was at 9:04, and this is the dog. Let's just
look at that, Sam. Isn't that?
Oh yeah, whale eye and everything.
Yeah, everything, huh? Yeah.
So,
and buffed up.
He just got put into the van with no leash. His mom was on a Zoom call, slammed the door, and he's like, "Uh-oh, I've never been in this van before." He froze. So I also know his histories. He can be a little stinker sometimes. So let's see the next time frame. I'm showing him. I'm actually talking about it. That's 9:05. I spray the bathtub at 9:05 still. This is all seconds. Okay, 9:12. I'm letting him sniff my hand. And at 9:17. So it started at 9:04, but we did the whole process by 9:17. And he's shaking. Now watch him lay down. He's going to come back for a treat. There he goes. He's like, okay, I got this. And he's going to come over. Yeah. So how many? That's like nothing, right? And it was worth it because I was able to handle him, touch him, pick him up, do his nails, put him in the bathtub. But I knew from that look, and he was in the corner. He's already in the corner. I cannot approach him. Right. He was just giving me. He wouldn't even face me. He was side-eyed looking at me. And I'm like, uh-oh, I don't have a leash to bring him to me. I had to wait to get close enough to put a loop around him. But I decided, okay, let's just start spraying. And I mean spraying. I actually used courage and trust. I went ahead and used confidence. And then just waited for him to go ahead and lay down. When he laid down and would come for a treat to me, then I could actually touch him. And that's when the whole process just was done. But not touching him until he decided he was going to give in to me.
But what was cool is you used a number of different of the essences.
Oh yeah, I like making a cocktail. Dogs love a cocktail. They're good partiers. So mixing up a couple of drama traumas is never, it's always behind my bar. So if it's not, drama trauma, which was there with me, but not next to me, it was actually on the other side of him. So I had to look to see what was near me. And I'm like, courage and trust, confidence. Let's go with that. Let's balance out all those behaviors there. Not that like he didn't have enough courage. He had a little too much courage, maybe in the wrong direction for me. Right. So, and then the trust part of that, like it just really needed to like go, okay, I remember you. I know you. I can come to you. So it was totally worth it because here I am. So
And
fun.
we do have a wonderful client in Chicago that years ago with those thunderstorms in Chicago, crazy. And then the elevated train and she had pit bulls and she called our stuff a canine martini. She goes, martini time, it's martini time. So yeah.
Meg, the one thing I'll always remember.
What?
Magic.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. And that was just such a wonderful example of redirecting. So tell us about Magic and tell us about that owner.
The owner was desperate and Magic was just he was traumatized by so many different things.
Yeah, big boy too. He was a big boy.
And it was great because you took it upon yourself to figure out, all right, if I mix a little of this and a little of that and a little of this, a little of that.
Yeah.
And it was, listen, you never cure fear, but it sure made his life a whole lot better.
Yeah, and hers too.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, because she cared so much.
Yes.
And I know, I don't know about you, but I know I really tried to say, are you sure you want to keep this dog?
I know.
He was massive. He must have been, from just the photos, he must have been 70, 75 pounds.
Oh, he was bigger than that. He was close to 90. He was close to 90 pounds.
Okay, so and
she really scared and really pissed off dog when he got scared. He wasn't pissed. He was panicked. He just
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she lived in a row home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what made it so much more difficult for both of them.
Yeah.
But
and that's Magic Spray.
Yes.
On the website, because what we did was we added lavender in order for her to be able to stay safe, stay away, go ahead and spray. And when they get that one scent, just singular, when they get that one scent, it's kind of like, okay, there's nothing confusing here. There's nothing alarming. There's nothing that I have to use my brain to. Let me just chill for just a nanosecond. Mm-hmm. And then we had all the other cocktail ingredients. Yeah. It was, I love that remedy. And I know Tess does too.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Very special dog.
Yeah. Magic. And that's why we do call it Magic Spray. How awesome. Hey, listen, we are, oh my gosh, we've done it again. We've gone almost 30 minutes.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? Let's just say real quick, because earlier Sam was talking about the heat wave.
Mm-hmm. Please, Sam.
Going around,
and grooming. Yeah, let's go over because this is important.
So it's pretty quick and simple. Like if you have ever mowed your grass without pulling your weeds, this is what I'm talking about. What? Don't shave your dog without pulling the weeds. That undercoat needs to come up by brushing. Have your groomer brush. Dogs that aren't normally shaved, like let's talk about like a corgi that has that beautiful undercoat. Don't rely on shaving. That doesn't. So it prevents them from cooling down.
Yes.
It does.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Because they still have that undercoat there. You're shaving a dog, but you're not removing all that undercoat. Yeah. You need to, remove the undercoat. Leave their fur there. It's going to protect them. Give them a cooling system. It's going to protect them from the sun. Dogs do get sunburn. Yes, dogs that are getting shaved. There's, those chances for, different things like cancer can come about too, that they're not getting the protection that coat is made for. So I love comparing it. Not that everybody goes out and mows their lawn anymore, but it's the same as not pulling your weeds and then mowing the grass. You still have all those weeds there and the grass is just shorter. So you need to loosen up that undercoat. That will be what's relieving for them. It's going to help prevent a lot of allergies that come up in the summer. And it's cooling because they're going to still keep that top coat on them, which provides like a little vent. So is that what you were talking about earlier, Sam?
Yes.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
That's wonderful. And then Sam, you were talking about, going out for walks and daycare, or what do we need to do there?
Remember, a dog's body temperature is somewhere between 101 and 102, right? So already they're hotter than we are. Listen, real early in the morning, really late at night. Right? People live in apartments, condos, etc. I know they got to get them out for their dogs to eliminate. It's not a time to take a walk, right? Get them out and eliminate, get them back inside, right? Dogs this is a terrible time. Again, they're very susceptible to heat stroke and heat injuries. So people got to do some reading, quick reading on the internet or whatever, so you know the signs of that. Right, back of your hand down on the pavement or concrete. If you can't keep it there for 5 seconds, your dog's feet shouldn't be there. As tough as pads are, they're also very fragile. Right? And so, like
the
that.
blisters. Oh, it's horrible.
For horses, misting systems. At daycares, people taking their dogs to daycares. You've got to make sure that those dogs have access to air conditioning, obviously lots of water, shade, depending on the surface that the dogs are walking on at the daycare, whether it's pea gravel, whether it's artificial turf, whether it's rubber mats, whatever, all that stuff gets hot. So, make sure that there's cooling systems in place to make sure that those surfaces aren't hot and the dogs don't end up, obviously, with burns on their pads.
And I love kiddie pools.
Yes.
Plastic kiddie pools. What?
Again, in the shade.
Good, Sam.
Right.
Good.
Lots of dogs love sprinklers. Great. In the shade.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now the misting system, I just have a real, a cheesy one. It was like $20 and maybe 6 nozzles, but it drops the temperature on my porch by 15 degrees.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
It is. You gotta look at it.
I need that.
Home Depot, those outdoor fans, you just hook it's just a big fan. You hook your garden hose up to it, turn on the garden hose, and as the fan's going around, it's just misting.
Oh my goodness.
They're made for decks and patios and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It looks like a regular fan, just that it's
but it's not a regular fan. We don't want everybody to start, adding
water. A misting fan.
A misting fan. Oh my gosh. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Great.
Yeah. And I have been known to stand behind my regular fan with my trauma and spray that behind my fan. And
no doubt.
Yeah. Sam, I really do believe that if, on a wonderful basis with our veterinarians, and that if we call them today and say, look, can I stop by, and get a little something for a just in case. I do believe that a lot of the veterinarians, I can't, of course, shame all of them, but, that they ought to be there for us on a day.
I know in the area, every vet that I work with, every vet that my clients have, or the ones that I don't know personally, if they ask them for something, the vets are more than willing to accommodate.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. I just didn't want to out them. And then the last thing is over the counter, OTC, like Benadryl. And, but again, getting the dosage from the veterinarian or getting it okay.
Benadryl's a real hit and miss thing. Again,
exactly. Yeah, you have to know
what Benadryl is designed for. And Benadryl that's not designed for dogs who have these noise phobias.
Okay. All right.
That's the thing. It can make them drowsy or whatever, but it's not targeting the right part of the brain.
Okay. Good to know.
That's why things like the Cilio, that's why some of the light sedatives, and even for the dogs that are just so terrified, they have to go to the heavier sedatives.
Yeah.
And it's targeting the problem area of the brain.
I understand. So Benadryl could, if it was prescribed by the veterinarian, could more be used like for maybe travel anxiety or something like that, where,
we just don't see, at least I know with the vets that I work with, and that we don't see them prescribing Benadryl except for allergy issues.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Yeah, I know. I need to be not so old school. There is a new school out there.
Yeah, it's a great time for them to call their vet now, not waiting till the weekend. Call now and say, can I just discuss with you what I'm concerned about, and see if they can go ahead and prescribe them something.
Yep.
Now's the time. I can't say that enough. Yesterday was the time. So let's just
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was the time.
Yeah.
And fireworks comes the summer thunderstorms.
But
and we all know how bad those get.
I know. And any kind of evacuation. Heck, we're in fire season 24/7 now in California. But again, I say, be over prepared. Yes. Be over prepared. I did a lot of rescue work. You two know that. I did a lot of rescue work, 25 years worth, and evacuating and going off to strange places. And, no one was ever over prepared.
Right.
Ever. Right. So,
and it is our responsibility as the pet owner. This is it. This is what you sign up for. Be prepared. You cannot be over prepared.
Yeah.
Find out now.
Fantastic. A good word. It is our responsibility. It's actually our obligation, our moral obligation.
Yes.
To do this for our companion animals.
Yeah. And as I always say, or tell a friend. Had I not listened to Carrie, oh my God, and I never listened to Carrie. She is always right. She's always right.
Doctor, heal thyself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then she didn't do it for me. She did it for Tiger.
Right.
Yeah. I love Carrie.
Oh my God. Yeah. Shout out to Carrie. Oh my God. My best bud. How long has she been with BlackWing Farms? I think 17, 18 years now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's longer than all 3 marriages combined. Oh my God. Well, I love you too. I adore you. And we'll figure out on our calendar, but hopefully, same time next month. Okay.
Be safe.
Okay, great.
Be safe. Stay cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just enjoy the rest of the summer.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Meg.
Beautiful.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you guys later.
Bye. Bye-bye.